Welcome to EVTN News, your source for Catholic news. And today, I just want to jump right into the news. So, the Institute in Chicago, Cardinal Cupich is attempting to shut down the Institute. Now, I did a video on Saturday. I didn't have many details, but the rumor was swirling around, and you know how I've gotten burned. Well, you might not, but I've reported rumors in the past, and it turns out they've been false. So this rumor actually turned out to be true. Cardinal Cupich in Chicago has he wants to ban the Institute of Christ the King. Now there were reports that people who attended Mass at the Shrine of Christ the King in Chicago, they did not hear this information, but the priest said, pray for, or we're going to have like all day adoration for the future of the Institute. And they seemed to hint and indicate that this was possible, that it would be shut down. Now, LifeSite News has some information on this. So I'm going to read this to you. They said a prominent Chicago Catholic has told LifeSite News that in a further move to destroy the traditional rite in his diocese, Cardinal Blaise Cupich, Archbishop of Chicago, has instructed the traditional Institute of Christ the King to close down all public masses by the end of July this year. So that's just a few weeks. So he will remove their faculties by August 1st. That is to say, the Institute's priests will not be permitted to hear confessions anymore. LifeSite News has learned from Keith Armato, a leading Catholic layman close to the situation, that the Archbishop of Chicago had demanded for months now that the Institute signs a document with 5 or 6 points. Among the points they had to sign, each priest individually, was that the Novus Ordo rite is the only true expression of the Roman rite, which clearly contradicts their charism, which is the Latin Mass. Moreover, the Institute was also asked to accept a procedure according to which the priests of the Institute have to ask Cardinal Cupich for permission to celebrate the Latin Mass, and that he might grant it for 2 years, but that he also could revoke that permission at any given time. So, let me see here. So that's what we already knew. We already knew that Cardinal Cupich instituted this policy. He said that all priests must be approved by him to say the Latin Mass, and apparently the Institute didn't go along with that. They just kind of proceeded as normal. Now, let me see. Okay, so Armato assured LifeSite that the leaders of the Institute, in their correspondence with Cardinal Cupich, did their utmost to find solutions and compromises. They even offered Cardinal Cupich their shrine so that other priests could celebrate the Novus Ordo, since several churches in the area had closed, and with it, access to the Novus Ordo was diminished, but for Cupich, the discussions were over. However, it appears that the Institute already resisted. And so what I have to say about that is I hope they continue to resist. So that is that. I wanted to get to that news first. All right. So what do you think? Do you think Cardinal Cupich is going to shut down? Do you think the Institute? Here's my thought. I think the Institute is just going to continue as normal. They're not going to say anything about it. They're just going to continue as normal, just like they did when Cupich unleashed his restrictions against the Latin Mass the first time. The Institute just ignored it. And they didn't say anything in their bulletins. Apparently, they didn't say anything at Mass. They just continued. He banned everyone from saying the Latin Mass on first Sundays in Chicago, in the Archdiocese, but the Institute just continued to move on as normal. And so I hope that when August 1st comes, they will continue to move on as normal. And then Cupich will be forced to issue a public declaration. So, I don't know. So anyway, I just saw an advertisement for Sunday. You may have a friend that needs an abortion right before your video. Oh, okay. Someday. Yeah, okay. Demons hate the Latin Mass. It's going to be shut down. Have you seen the video on Return to Tradition? No, I have not. He can't shut it down. I mean, he can't shut it down. They own the building. So they can continue to say Mass. They own the building. That's the thing. It's just not going to be approved by the diocese, which who cares? It's Cardinal Cupich. Cardinal McCarrick put him in. All right, returning to Africa here. The Association of Member Episcopal Conferences in Eastern Africa started their 20th plenary assembly with an outdoor Mass. Sunday, July 10th. The plenary assembly is being held under the name Environmental Impact on Integral Human Development. Really? We need an African pope, right? Okay, religious order breaks away from the diocese. Institute of Christ the King, take note. The Cittadella Divina della Misericordia, Divine Citadel of Mercy, has broken away from the Reggio Emilia Diocese in Italy. In an unsigned July 3rd email to the Vicar General, the group wrote that it is no longer dependent on those whom it recognizes as legitimate pastors of the Church and is now tied to the resistance around Bishop Williamson, former St. Pius X bishop. And another thing with that, the Shrine of Christ the King, this is like their central headquarters in Chicago. So, what, I don't know. I think if they back down here, then it's going to, all the other bishops around the United States could shut them down. So, whatever. Okay, moving on. Pope Francis was asked about Joe Biden's support for abortion despite being Catholic. Pope Francis said, "I leave it to his conscience and that he speaks to his bishop, his pastor, his priest about that inconsistency." It's just an inconsistency, that's all. Catholics can support abortion. Yeah. Okay. That's rotten. Pope Francis is definitely complicit. New leadership is coming to the Catholic ministry at Ohio State, led by a new vision. Bishop Earl Fernandez, he's new bishop. The group of priests who have run the St. Thomas More Newman Center, known as the Paulist Fathers, will be removed from leadership. They're pretty big sodomy supporters. Fernandez is appointing Father Adam Streitenberger to run the center, but hundreds of community members have signed letters expressing their grievances, many citing new movements that the bishop has proposed working with, including ones members say are less inclusive to the LMNOP community. So this is what it's all about. Okay, Rob Gussinger, he said, "It's been kind of forced upon us. It's like we've been kicked out." He has been attending Newman with his husband since they were students at Ohio State University in the 1970s. Meanwhile, other families like the Natalie family, who have been attending for 22 years, also say they will most likely be leaving because of the abrupt decision. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. You know, this is Catholic. And finally, there's a bishop who's taking a stand for Catholicism, and these people don't like it because the religion they practice is not Catholicism. Actually, what do they practice? LMNOP. Sounds like it. Okay, women and awful men are going to be picking bishops. Pope Francis on Wednesday named 3 women to the dicastery for bishops, the first time women have been appointed to the dicastery responsible for identifying future bishops globally. So, these women, Maria Leah Zervino, I don't know about the other ones, but Maria Leah Zervino is not a nun. She's a social activist who is the Argentine President General of the World Union of Catholic Women's Organizations. She's also a consultant to the Pontifical Council for Interreligious Dialogue. Well, there you go. Maybe they'll name a Protestant a bishop. Maybe they'll name a pagan a bishop. Oh, wait. Described as a close friend of the Pope, she wrote an open letter to Francis in 2021 praising him for being the Francis of the 21st century, but saying that not enough progress has been made in taking advantage of the wealth of women who make up a large part of the people of God. The two other nuns, time will tell if they are bus nuns. Or the two others are nuns, and we will find out if they are bus nuns. But anyway, the awful men that they've appointed are Cardinal Gretsch. He's the Secretary General of the Synod of Bishops. Cardinal Roach, who hates the Latin Mass. And Cardinal-elect Lazaro Yu Huang-sik, the prefect for the dicastery of clergy. So, okay, Roach is a cardinal-elect too. But anyway, these two guys, it shows the Francis network is so small that he cannot find new people. He has to turn to women because men won't want to work for him. That's what this tells me. The Francis network is small because you have to be compromised. If you get what I'm saying. McCarrick, Zanchetta, run down the list. Cupich, Tobin, not unite, baby. Lay-led liturgies. That's a tongue twister. Due to the aging clergy and lack of new admissions into the seminary, the Catholic Archdiocese of Dublin, Ireland, is bringing in new measures, including appointing priests to oversee multiple parishes, sharing assets, volunteers, and finances. This may even allow lay ministers of the church to preside over funerals. Father Aquinas Duffy, the parish priest of Cabinteely, said that due to this crisis, parishes could rely increasingly on lay-led liturgies. He said even now parish priests could perform 500 funerals per year in 2 parishes. He said there is no way one priest could do 500 funerals the way we do them now, so we have to go down the road of lay people being trained to lead funeral services and burials. Well, here's a thought. Preach the Catholic faith. And also here's another thought. 500 funerals a year won't last much longer, considering the lack of vocations and the lack of mass attendance. And one other way to ruin your church, go to the German Synod. Ermi Stretter-Karp, a laywoman and co-president of the German Synodal Way, wrote, "A nationwide provision of the medical intervention of abortion must be ensured." And so, add another heresy to the German Synodal Way. This is just another one. I think at one point, I think there was an article in which I listed at least 4 heresies of the German Synodal Way that were even mentioned in the short article. So they are anti-Catholic. I mean, apostasy is rejecting the faith. And I think it's fair to say, like people say that the German synodal path, the participants of the German Synodal Way are schismatics, but I think it's fair to ask if they are apostates, a wholesale rejection of the Catholic faith. All right, moving on to Archbishop Naumann. In regards to the controversy surrounding Biden and Pelosi, Archbishop Joseph Naumann of Kansas City said in an interview, "I think the Pope doesn't understand the United States just as he doesn't understand the Church in the United States." Well, that's fair to say. He said, "His advisors and the people surrounding him have completely misinformed him on this. Of course, we have to be pastoral when dealing with such matters. However, it is not pastoral to tell someone they are a good Catholic and can receive communion as a matter of course when the person has committed grave evil. The fact that the Pope received Pelosi was politically exploited. In doing so, Francis is doing exactly what he warns others not to do." So Archbishop Naumann is seeing the contradictions of Pope Francis. All right, the USCCB, of which I hope Archbishop Naumann will speak against. An unmarried LMNOP will be allowed to foster a child after the USCCB let a lawsuit alleging discrimination go unchallenged, suggesting single LMNOP adults may be able to foster through Catholic organizations while LMNOP couples generally continue to be banned. That's awful. The decision comes in response to a complaint from Tennessee resident Kelly Easter, arguing that a federal foster care program administered by the USCCB discriminates on the basis of sexual orientation. Of course they do. Of course they should. Easter sued in October after Michigan-based Bethany Christian Services, a sub-grantee of the USCCB, allegedly told her that the Bishops' Conference would not let her apply to foster a refugee child. In a February letter to Bethany obtained by the Washington Post, the USCCB characterized the dispute as a misunderstanding and said it does not prohibit single LMNOP people from fostering because of their sexual orientation, and she dropped her lawsuit in June. So just because they are single does not mean they will be in the future. So this is rotten. I mean, very obvious. Very obvious. Anyone could have just figured that out. I don't even have to say it on video, but I just did. Okay. Moving to the Diocese of Green Bay. It sounds pretty solid right now. The Diocese of Green Bay has added a clause to its education policy manual that prohibits the use of pronouns and wearing clothes that do not align with a person's biological sex. So no cross-dressers. Wow, what a thought. What a concept. So this is a grooming-free diocese, at least hopefully. With 54 Catholic schools in the diocese, this policy will apply to around 9,000 students, so give them a thumbs up for that. It will also affect 12,000 people who attend religious education classes. Even better. The punishment for violation of the policy, which took effect July 1st, can range from corrective action to suspension or expulsion. Well, there we go. Suspend the radical anti-Catholics. That's what we need to do. And don't use incorrect pronouns. Use what's on the birth certificate. This is what kind of what Catholics think. Okay. When Pope oh, here we go. Pagan Ceremony. Pachamama Part 2? I don't know, but it is a pagan ceremony. When Pope Francis travels to Canada to apologize to indigenous communities for the lies the media have, for the fake news that the media has spread, for the way the Catholic Church, they allege, joined efforts to uproot them from their traditional culture and spirituality. Their traditions, the pagan traditions, will be on full display. Father Cristino Bouvet, a priest of the Archdiocese of Calgary, Alberta, has been working with the Pope's Master of Liturgical Ceremonies, Monsignor Diego Giovanni Ravelli, to plan the masses and prayer services for the trip. One of the events Father Bouvet has helped plan is Pope Francis' scheduled meeting July 25th with indigenous people at the Sacred Heart Church of the First Peoples, which has been the official parish for the First Nations and Métis people in Edmonton since 1993. So an elder will process into the church ahead of Pope Francis with a bowl of smoldering cedar, sage, sweetgrass, and tobacco, the common aromatics used for the smudge ceremony by many native peoples of North America. Wow. Does that sound Catholic to you? Obviously not. Okay, so Father Bouvet wrote in an email, "The smudge that is being proposed at Sacred Heart holds a twofold purpose. One, to show recognition of the ritual in an observable/public way, and two, as a ritual of purification in a space itself, as a gesture of making the space more hospitable to welcome the Holy Father as he arrives." A ritual of purification would be the asparagus, sprinkling holy water, not a pagan incense ceremony in a Catholic church. Usually, the person doing the smudging would use a feather or branch to direct the smoke towards participants who use their hands to welcome it as a sign of their desire to cleanse their minds and hearts. However, Father Bouvet said, at Sacred Heart the elder will smudge the church itself, but will not direct the smoke towards the Pope. Good, so he won't be cursed in that regard, but the church will be. And since when was it acceptable to dialogue or to allow pagans to practice their false beliefs in a Catholic church? You know, the gods of the pagans are demons. That's what St. Paul says. It's not John the son of thunder. Okay. I see a lot of comments here. All the advertising before and after trad channels seem to be for abortions. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's up with that. I get some advertisements and it's kind of funny. I'm like, wow, you're kind of preaching to the wrong people here. The people at St. John Cantius will protest loudly. Let's hope so, and let's hear it on the news. I want to see it. I want to see it on next EVTN. Supposedly, Francis is going to get rid of Humana Vitae. Yeah. Oh, okay. So here's another story. Well, not a story, but I've been seeing it was a Pontifical Academy for Life. They've been posting some horrible stuff recently about, they say, we want to dialogue about Humana Vitae and about all this stuff with the pagans and the heretics. And what a crazy time we're living in, right? Oh, Kansas City Royals fan. We probably will see what an Amazonian rite would look like. Well, you already saw that at the Vatican with the Pachamama ceremony. They want to do that in a welcome ceremony, fine, but not at Mass. No, I don't even want it in a welcome ceremony. I mean, they can do it at their own place, but no one should show up. And this is all about Pope Francis apologizing for these fake stories about mass graves discovered. I do believe that there were mass graves, but they were buried. It was not Catholics killing indigenous children. It was not. There is no evidence for it. It's just the media's way of generating hate towards Catholics. I mean, look, the real Catholics, they're the ones that believe in the Catholic faith, right? And so all these jab mandates and all these virus priests and virus bishops in Canada, they're not preaching the Catholic faith. But and Pope Francis is going to go and apologize for some story that is not true. And that's such a shame. What he could have done was come to America and celebrate the overturning of the human sacrifice, child sacrifice, but he's going to Canada for the indigenous people to participate in another pagan ceremony. At least it's not in the Vatican this time. But as for that church, I would not want to enter that church. You would need some serious holy water and sacramentals to avoid the demons that are going to be overtaking that church. Because whenever you allow a pagan ritual in a Catholic church, then you're inviting the demons in, and you need an exorcism. I don't know. Has anyone exorcised the Vatican? That one church that's Cardinal Olette's church in Rome. Has anyone exorcised that church where they displayed the Pachamama idols? How about St. Peter's Basilica? I believe the Pachamamas were in St. Peter's, from what I understand. Francis showed what he thought about Roe versus Wade by welcoming Pelosi. Exactly. And that's why Archbishop Naumann was making his tentative comments. But I think what we need is more bishops to just question that. I think that's a good way to start. I mean, we can encourage these bishops. You know, Coeur de Leon, he has 12 bishops in the United States that actually support him excommunicating Nancy Pelosi. There may be more, but they didn't publicly say anything. Isn't that pathetic? Where's the unity? Where's the defense of the faith? Right now we have so few. Do we expect any priests to stand up against this Latin Mass, against this attack, this declaration of war on the Latin Mass? I don't know. We'll see. All right, well, that's all I have for EVTN News. Thank you so much for watching. This has been EVTN News. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.